Hello, my name is Nick Lee, and thank you for joining me today in a new series of videos pertaining to tips and tricks within Power BI. I have a demonstration for you today on how to sort months in Power BI chronologically rather than alphabetically, which is the default nature of Power BI Desktop. So our problem that we're looking at today is that in Power BI Desktop, month columns are sorting alphabetically rather than chronologically. Here's an example of what I mean. As you can see in both tables, they're sorting alphabetically, top to bottom, April through September. So as a hypothetical, I work for a bicycle and bicycle parts manufacturer, and I have been in business for about 3 years, and I want to track my sales data and the granularity of a month. I would like to see both the monthly data for every year combined, as well as the monthly data for individual years, which is why we have both of these tables as an example. Power BI doesn't know that the months we have listed are date-based. All it knows is that these are strings, and strings are sorted alphabetically. So to resolve this issue and sort out our data how we want it, we need to make sure we have a proper date table set up, which I will thoroughly go over, and change how our months sort by defining the order we want them to sort in. We will be accomplishing this by using DAX to create the calculated columns that we need for our report. This leads us into our demonstration. Within Power BI Desktop, I already have my data source, my bicycle manufacturing company, loaded and ready to manipulate. What I'm missing in this report is a proper date table. So if we look at the right side in our field section, I have a customer table, a product table, a sales territory table, and an internet sales table, and none of this stuff has the proper date table that we need for this time intelligence report we're trying to make. So the first thing we need to do is create that date table. And we're going to do so in the Data Modeling tab of Power BI Desktop. So once we open the Data Modeling tab, the first thing we need to do is open the Modeling ribbon. So when we open the Modeling ribbon, we are going to choose New Table. With a new table, we're going to get our new date table set up, completely freshed out, and we're going to build it from scratch. So when I create a new table, I am going to name the first column Date, and I'm going to use the calendar function that's built in to Power BI. We're going to create a start date and an end date. Now, I know I said that this is only going to be a few years worth of data in our report, but for our sake, we are going to make it a little more expansive and start it off in the year of 2000 and end it in the year of 2018, which is the current year at the time of making this video. The reason I'm making this date table much larger is because if I run more reports later on that use different timetables, I would like to use the same date table for a different report. Now we already have it pre-made and we're not going to have to worry about it again. All right, so when I hit enter, what you see is a comprehensive list of dates starting from January 1st, 2000, and it's going to go all the way down to December 31st of 2018. All right, so now I need to create a new column. And in this new column, we're going to call it month. Within this month column, what we're going to use is the actual month function. And what this month function does is it returns a number from 1 to 12 to represent the month. So January is going to be 1, February is going to be 2, March is going to be 3, all the way down to December, which is 12. We're going to point it at our date column that we already have currently built. And what it's going to do, it's going to extrapolate that month from the date column itself. And it's just going to list those numbers in a row as this column shows. It has 1 through 12 for every month. All right. So this column that we just created, we're going to be basing our months column that we need to sort off of this column. So this is technically what we need for that, but we're not completely finished yet. We need to continue and create more columns just to have a comprehensive date table here. So I'm going to create another column, and I'm going to call this column our month name column. And the function we're actually going to use for this column is called the format function. What this does is you give it a value, and this value gets converted into a text format. Now, what we're going to use is a certain string value that works just for format within DAX. And I'm about to show you that right now. So we're going to point our value at our date column. And then it's going to extrapolate the month and let us know what month it is. So we're looking for the words January, February, March, all spelled out here. And to do that, you would write MMMM within double quotes. Now I know that this is going to generate January, February, all the way to December for every month. And there's so many different values you can use within the format function. And you could easily enough look that up by searching for MSDN DAX format values. All right, so when I hit enter, what you see is January listed for the month of January, February listed for the month of February, etc., all the way to December. All right, so there's one more column that I want to create for my date table, and I'm going to call this column the year column. So what I want is I just want the year displayed. I don't want the months, the dates, the times. I simply just want the year. So I'm going to use the year function, and I'm going to point it at our date column again, and it's going to extrapolate that year and put it directly into this column. So there it is. We have our year's 2000. So if we unzoom and scroll down quite a bit, you'll see that it displays every year in correspondence with whatever is in the date column. All right, so now our date table is complete. We can go back into our report view and we can continue building our report as we want. So let's go ahead and start building our table. I'm going to start off by selecting table from our visualization. And I'm going to start off with two simple columns here. We're going to use the month name column, which is January, February, etc. And we're going to compare it against our sales amount, our total sales amount. So we have a table here. Let's bump up that size so we can read it a little easier. I'm going to go in the format section, go to grid, and change text size to 24. That's way more visible. All right, so now we have all 12 months here listed April through September, just like we expected. The one problem we have is our sales amount shows the same number for every single month. That can't be right. So if any of you are not familiar with Power BI and what happens when you create a new table is we need to build the relationship between our date table and our fact internet sales table. So to do that, we're going to go ahead and go into our relationships tab. And we need to build this relationship. So here we see our date table and our fact internet sales table. So what we could do is we could scroll down to our order date. This date will do. And our date column from our date table. And let's build that relationship by dragging one on top of the other. So what just happened is we just created a one-to-many relationship from our date table to our fact internet sales table. All right, so let's go back to our report view and check out that table. So what happened is it automatically updated for us. Now we're seeing accurate depictions of our sales amounts for every month. So that looks good. All right, so let's create one more table. And I'm just going to go ahead and use this one as a base. And I'm going to Control-C copy, Control-V paste, drag it over here. And I'm going to add one more column to it. I'm going to add the year column. So what we're seeing here is our year column is not displaying properly. It has all of our years summed up because it doesn't know that year is a year. It just sees a number and wants to automatically summarize it up. So normally this helps us out within Power BI, but for this case, we can fix it easily enough. So what we could do is on the right-hand side of the screen in our field section, we're going to select the year column. Notice how it is outlined in yellow. That's how we know we have it selected. And then we're going to make sure we're in the modeling tab. And within the properties section at the top, under default summarization, we're going to choose don't summarize. Now that doesn't automatically fix it for us here. We have one more spot we need to change. We're going to go down to our value section within our visualizations. See, it says sum of year. We want to change that. We also want to choose don't summarize here. And there we could see it fixed our summarization issues. Now it's showing every month with every year combined. So let's reorder this a little bit so it's a little bit easier to read. There we go. All right, so now we have every month with every year. We can look at our sales data a little bit more descriptive rather than have them all bundled together. But for my report, I want both of them to be visible so we can gather as much data as possible. All right, so now what we need to do is, again, we're going to select a column. We're going to select our month name column. The reason why we're selecting our month name column, because this is the one that's getting sorted automatically alphabetically, and we want it to sort chronologically. We have all the tools we need to do that. All we have to do is do it. All right, so we're going to select our month name column, and then at the top of the screen, again in the modeling tab, we have this option for sort by column. What this does is we can actually set the definition of which column we want our month name column to sort by. It's no longer going to look at April, August, etc., all the way to September as text. It's going to look at all of those as a number. So what we could do is we're going to click on the sort by column box, and we're going to choose which column we want to sort it by. The one we want to sort it by is, in fact, the month column. This is the column that we have numbered 1 through 12. 1 for January, 2 for February, all the way to December for the number 12. So once we choose that, what happens is automatically for one column, it fixed itself. We're just going to click the little sort button here. And now both columns are now sorting chronologically rather than alphabetically. This is our intended result, and our report's looking pretty good so far. So maybe now I can add some more visuals and whatnot, but for our demonstration purposes, this is exactly what we needed. Just a little recap on what our problem was exactly is within Power BI Desktop, our month columns are sorting alphabetically rather than chronologically. And what we did to fix this is we created a date table that uses the month function, which defines the chronological order for months. Then we sort the month name column by the aforementioned month column that we created. And what that did was it numbered each column 1 through 12, and we were able to sort it chronologically. Thanks for tuning in. I hope I solved all your issues today, and be sure to check out my future videos. Thanks. Bye.